Hey there, future fellow weird ass black sheep. You perfect weirdos of the welcome to the most offensive church this side of the universe. The party pin. Cheering and clapping is happening for you inside my head. My soundboard don't work. And what we do here in this most amazing place, we read this great ass book. It's called God Said What? Because he did not fucking say that. This is God's unofficial biography, Das Bible, as read by yours truly, the Saint of Awesome, your Superstone Sage, Saint Nikki K. the Great. And I am wonderful. Clap for me, I clap for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, come on in and get some coffee, get a cigarette, grab some cannabis, find the chair with your name on it, and have a seat. Get comfy and cover up. I will show you around.
Hey, future fellow weirdo, you're the black sheep of the flock. Come and take a load off. Let's have a little talk. This side of the universe, the wildest place you've been. Welcome to the service at the party pen. Have a good time, laugh and giggle.
Come on in and smile just a little.
We're reading God's unofficial bio today.
The Bible lady's gonna
Lead the way. I got the coffee and the smokes, I got the herb and the chair, got a seat with your name on it, waiting right there, searching for the mystery, a better mind to find. Leave that stuffy, judgy world way back behind. We're the outcasts and the rebels, we're the ones that don't fit in, but there's a holy kind of magic in the middle of the sin.
Yeah, the mystery is deep and the coffee's brewing strong in the most offensive church where we all belong. Have a good time.
Laugh and giggle.
Come on in and smile just a little.
We're reading God's unofficial bio today.
The Bible lady's gonna
Lead the way. The mystery of God, what a beautiful find.
a better understanding for a
Black sheep's mind.
Okay. Hi, cousin. Listen, if you are on replay crew, watch at 2 times speed. Go down there to the little settings wheel and go to playback speed and hit the number 2. Yes. And with that being said, hello, welcome. Hi, Cousin Ollie. How are you? Let me. I wanna. Okay. There we go. That's all I wanted to do. Okay. There's something else I want to do. Hey, General Piggy! Welcome. Hello. You'll be happy to know what I did. Um, Actually, you might not be happy to know what I did. And I'm not even going to tell you what I did because it's not my business to even say anything about it. So never mind. But I'm glad that you love that song, by the way. I'm glad you're good. Michael, I'm not even touching that with anybody else's dick. It's not happening. So why tell me that just to not tell me? Well, I'll tell you. I hurt somebody's feelings by not understanding how people feel that way. Like, I love people, but I'd be over them just as fast as I loved them, though. Like, I guess I just don't get that emotionally attached to people. I have kids with Dustin, and we could break up, and I would still self destruct. I mean, but it wouldn't be because I missed him, it would be because I don't know how to live by myself. I've never lived by myself. And, anyways, I hurt somebody's feelings, and she said I was making her a clown because I was joking, but I really wasn't joking. I meant every fucking thing I said. But that's just it. It was the same time, or it's like the same thing with the girl that got raped. I didn't understand that shit either because it was like, well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit and cry about it, or are you just gonna fucking move on? And apparently, people just don't move on. See, I moved on. I was like, well, what the fuck? What can I do about it? Nothing. So just fucking move on. He wants you to be sad and get fat because you're miserable. Don't let that shit happen. Just move the fuck on. It's not that big of a deal. Or act like it's not that big of a deal. You know? At least that's what I do. I don't take anything serious. Because it doesn't have a hoodie on it. Normally it has a hoodie on it that says, I will hurt your feelings. Hi, in the bushes. Welcome. Oh, and I got the blue light. The blue light is on. It should be a red light, but and the blue light is on. I wish I had a red light. Wouldn't that be cool? Like I could have a red light and then I could have red light therapy. And then maybe my bones wouldn't hurt so much. But anyway, I want to read this book. I want to quit talking about all this other shit because it's fogging my mind. and I'm being emotionally manipulated into, well, I guess I'm emotionally manipulating myself into feeling like a different person because somebody's feelings got hurt. And I feel bad for hurting their feelings, but it needs to get out of my mind because I got to read the Bible. So we're just going to read the Bible. I'm naturally something, cousin. For real. Naturally something. But I'm going to read this story now. We're reading about Queen Esther. Okay. So the king and Haman went to dine. Oh, yeah. This is the second dinner. She already had one dinner, and her request at the first dinner was for them to have a second dinner because she wants to tell the king that she is a Jew and Haman wants to kill all the Jews because they don't want to bow to him like he's something fucking special. So, she didn't tell them that at the first dinner. She wanted them to come to the second dinner. So, the first dinner, she got dude all drunk, and then he went home and was bragging about being drunk. And they were like, build some gallows and kill some Jews. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to build the gallows and kill some Jews. And Queen Esther, she invited him to dinner again. So he's coming to dinner right now. So the king and Haman went to dine with Queen Esther. And on the second day at the banquet, the king again said to Esther, what you want, baby cakes? What do you want? And Queen was like, okay, listen, let my life be given to me at my petition, and of my people at my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, to be killed, to be annihilated. And we have been sold as male and female slaves. I would have held my tongue, although the enemy would never compensate for the king's loss. So King What's-His-Face was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Esther was like, yeah, it's this guy Haman. Like he's been creeping while you've been sleeping like facade. Listen, it's a JCW wrestler. And he be creeping while you be sleeping. And so is this Haman guy. So Haman was terrified. Then King What's-His-Face arose in his wrath from the banquet and went to the palace garden. He went to touch grass. Look, he got mad and went outside and went to the garden, so he touched grass. But Haman stood before the queen, pleading for his life. for he saw that evil was determined against him by the king. When the king returned from the palace garden to the place of the banquet of wine, Haman had fallen across the couch where Esther was. Then the king said, "Will he also assault the queen in her own house?" When? Okay. As the words left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Now, Harbona, one of the eunuchs, said to the king, "Look, the gallows lifted 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on the king's behalf, is standing at the house of Haman." Then the king said, "Okay, well, hang him on it then. I don't give a shit. Look what he did to my wife. I don't even know what he did, but he probably touched her boob. Look, I don't even know what's happening, but that did happen. Yeah, so hang him on that thing. It'll be so much fun." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the king's wrath was subdued. Man, that's wild. She got the king extra drunk so she could tell him. And then what was that Haman guy thinking of leaning on the queen like that? What was he even thinking? Like, who does that? No one. Why? He doesn't even know. Okay. And remember, yesterday, he was bragging about how he was going to kill Mordecai because he hated Das Uden because Mordecai wouldn't bow to him or treat him special. And Mordecai was Queen Esther's uncle. Yep. So, on that day, King What's-His-Face, oh, this is chapter 8, by the way. King What's-His-Face gave Queen Esther the house of Haman. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told how he was related to her. So the king took off his signet ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther appointed Mordecai over the house of Haman. Now Esther spoke again to the king, did the face thing at his feet, and implored him with tears to counteract the evil of Haman and the scheme which he had devised against these terrible ass people. And the king held out the golden scepter, his stick, towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, Listen, I need you to do something. Look, I need you to write down how people don't need to kill these terrible ass people. I don't know. How can I endure to see the evil that will come to my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my countrymen because they probably deserve it. Look, I don't know what's happening. Then King What's His Face said to Queen Esther and Mordecai, uh, Indeed, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and they have hanged him on the gallows because he tried to lay his hand on these terrible ass people. You yourselves write a decree concerning them as you please, in the king's name, and deal with it and seal with the signet ring. For whatever is written in the king's name and sealed with his signet ring, no one can revoke. Dun, dun, dun. So the king's scribes were called at that time in the third month, which is April, May, June. And it's called on this one, Sivan, on the 23rd day. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded to these terrible ass people, the satraps, the governors, the princes of the provinces, from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces in all. Okay. And he wrote it in the name of the king, What's His Face, sealed it with his signet ring, and sent the letters in the mail. By these letters, the king permitted all these terrible ass people in every city to gather together and protect their lives, to destroy, kill, and annihilate the forces of any people or province that would assault them, both children and women, and to plunder their possessions. On the day all the provinces of King What's His Face, on the 14th day in March 12th, no, March 13th, which is March. A copy of the document was to be issued as a decree in every province and published for all the people. So these terrible ass people would be ready on that day to avenge themselves from their enemies. The mailmen who rode, the mailmen went out, hastened, and pressed on by the king's command, and the decree was issued in Shushan, the citadel. So Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, with a great crown of gold and a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. These terrible ass people had light and gladness, joy and honor. And in every province and city, wherever the king's command and decree came, these terrible ass people had joy and gladness, a feast and a holiday. Then many of the people of the land became part of these terrible ass people because people were scared of them. Dun, dun, dun. All right, that's the end of chapter 8. So, I'm smoking a cigarette. Who's also here? Who's all still here? What are you guys thinking about? Take my mind off dumb shit. Because I've been thinking about dumb shit. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Man. General Piggy left. Why? This end of bushes guy was here for a second. Oh, maybe if I shared my screen. So everybody left? Okay. I believe that 0. Oh, no. I believe that totally. Interesting. Okay. One in the world of cigarette. Although I don't know why Raja is not here. I gotta take my pills. I guess, well, there's nobody here. I could go make some coffee. Oh, hey, cousin. I think we're gonna finish this book today. Have you ever heard of this lady before, Queen Esther? Okay. Oh, yeah. We are literally gonna finish this story today. No, never heard of her. Well, she was a queen. Oh, yeah, got one page left. We're going to read it. We're going to finish this book today. Okay. Now, in March 13th, the time came for the king's command and his decree to be executed. On the day that the enemies of these terrible ass people hoped to overpower them, the opposite occurred. And that these terrible ass people themselves overpowered those who hated them. These terrible ass people gathered together in their cities throughout all the provinces of King What's-His-Face to lay hands on those who sought to harm them. And no one could withstand them because fear of them fell on all the people and all the officials. The satraps, the governors, and the people doing the king's work helped these terrible ass people because the fear of Mordecai fell on them. For Mordecai was great in the king's palace, and his fame spread throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai became increasingly prominent. Thus, the terrible ass people defeated all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, with the slaughter, destruction, and did what they pleased with those who hated them. That sounds kind of gross, these bloodthirsty monsters. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to cough in your ear. Okay. Here we go. Last chapter. Okay. Where was I at? Those who hated that. Oh, yeah, okay. In the Shushan, the citadel, these terrible ass people killed and destroyed 500 men. Also, Parsh and Datha, Persian Datha, all of these fucking names. 10 sons of Haman, the sons of Hamadatha, the enemy. They killed, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. On that day, the number of those who were killed in the citadel was brought to the king, and the king said to Esther, "These terrible ass people killed and destroyed 500 men in the citadel and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the provinces? Now, what is your petition? It shall be granted. What do you want? What do you want?" And then she was like, "These terrible ass people in Shushan, to do again tomorrow according to today's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the gallows. Why? Why do people worship this woman? She didn't do anything. She's like, let these terrible ass people kill one day, and then let them kill a second day, because their bloodthirst wasn't satiated. Because that's a fucking word. What's happening? I don't even know. So the king commanded this to be done. The decree was issued in Shushan, and they hanged to Haman's 10 sons. And the Jews who were in Shushan gathered together again on the 14th and killed 300 at Shushan, but did not lay a hand on the plunder. The remainder of these terrible ass people in the province gathered together and protected their lives. They had rest from their enemies and killed 75,000, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. This was on the 13th day of March. And on the 14th day of March, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Okay. But these terrible ass people who were at the citadel assembled themselves together on the 13th and the 14th and the 15th. And on the 15th, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore, these terrible ass people of the villages who dwelt in the unwalled towns celebrated the 14th day of the month. So they treated it like Christmas. They gave gifts. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent these letters to all the people, all these terrible ass people, near and far, who were in all the provinces of King What's-His-Face, to establish among them that they should celebrate yearly on the 14th and 15th as days in which these terrible ass people had rest from their enemies, as the month which turned from sorrow to joy and from mourning to holiday, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, of sending presents to one another. So this is their Christmas. Their Christmas is March 14th and 15th. They have 2 days of Christmas. So these terrible ass people accepted the custom which they had begun, as Mordecai had written to them, because of Haman, the enemy of these terrible ass people, had plotted against them to annihilate them, and had cast lots to consume and destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letter that this wicked plot which Haman had devised against these terrible ass people should return on his own head, that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. So they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, because of all the words of this letter that they had seen concerning this matter and what happened to them, these terrible ass people established and imposed it upon themselves and their descendants and all who would join them, that without fail they should celebrate these 2 days every year according to the written instructions and the prescribed time, that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, that these days of Purim should not fail to be observed among these terrible ass people. Hey Matt, how are you? Okay. Should be observed, blah blah blah. Queen Esther, with Mordecai, wrote with full authority to confirm this second letter about Purim. And Mordecai sent letters to all these terrible ass people, to the 125 provinces of the kingdom of What's His Face, with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim at their appointed time, as Mordecai and Queen Esther had prescribed for them, and that they had decreed for themselves and their descendants concerning matters of their feasting and lamenting. So the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. But we don't know what book. It doesn't say what book. Okay, last chapter. Last chapter. Yeah. So, it's only a paragraph long. So, King What's His Face imposed a tribute on the land. Okay. Imposed tribute on the land on the islands of the sea. Now, all the acts of his power and might, and the account and greatness of Mordecai, they are written in the Chronicles of Media and Persia. I didn't even know that was a book. But King What's His Face, Mordecai was second to King What's His Face, and was great among these terrible ass people, and well received by the multitude, seeking the good of his people and seeking peace to all his countrymen. Dun dun dun. That's the end of that book. How many minutes are we at? 44 minutes. That's pretty good, right? Yeah. Did I get a message? I did. Maybe. Anyway, we just finished a book. And the next book is Job. It's gonna be. Isn't Job long? It's kind of long. It's over 40 chapters. It's 42 chapters long. Yep, 42 chapters long. Oh, that's gonna take a while to get through. Man. So, Queen Esther, that wasn't the story I thought it was gonna be for sure. I mean, okay, people had me thinking it was like a bigger story. Queen Esther did something, you know, marvel and exciting, like what was her name? Judith, maybe? You know, she went into that captain, she went into his tent and killed him, and then the other one, she called the dude to her tent, gave him milk, and then hammered his head into the ground. Yeah. That was some king named Barack, which was a bullshit name. He's a coward back then, just like he's a coward now. His namesake is more of a coward than him, which is hard to believe because that guy is a total coward. The king was a total coward, and his namesake, the president from Kenya, uh, also a coward. But we're not getting into politics. Hey, cousin, are you still here? What do you know about Job? What does anybody know about Job? Are any of my cousins here? Somebody has to be here. Somebody. I mean, nobody really. I guess nobody really has to be here. Because there's a lot of people very upset at me for not understanding things the way they should be understood. So people are kind of upset at me. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Damn. I don't know. I was looking at who to raid, but doesn't look like anybody to raid. Oh, so learning about him. Well, what do you know about him so far? Because I mean, I guess I don't really know a lot about him. Like, I've heard stuff. And I've only read this book once, but it's so long that I only remember a little bit of it. It's a really long book. But the part that I find really interesting is God and the devil. They make a bet. Yeah. And God and Satan made a bet, and it's the craziest thing. And I think the whole thing down here is a bet between God and Satan to see who will be good and to see who will be bad. That's what I was saying. It's angel boot camp down here. Everybody gets salted with fire. We gotta go through hell to get to heaven. Some people aren't even strong enough to make it through hell. That's why your soul just keeps retrying. You come back until you figure out how to do it the right way. Or at least that's what I think, anyway. You get rejuvenated and you start anew. And then you can pick to go to heaven. I don't know. I think it works something like that. I might be saying it wrong, but I don't know. But I do know tomorrow we get to read Job. I know I gotta take my medicine and make Dawson a lunch. Oh shit. Yep. I gotta make Dawson a lunch because I forgot. I gotta take my medicine because I forgot. Oh my god. I gotta do so much stuff. And God did win that discussion. He sure did. But it wasn't without aches and moans. It wasn't without a lot of bitching. Because Job didn't curse God, but he cussed a lot. But it would be something like, just because I have these fucking boils doesn't mean God is bad. It's something like that. And God was like, see, he's so good. Okay. But anyway, I do gotta make Dustin's lunch and I gotta take my medicine. Oh yeah. I gotta take my medicine. I forgot. And it's about time to go to bed. Yep. So, oh, Jackie baby. Sorry about that. That's my Jackie baby. He's choking to death. I love you too, cousin. Have the sweetest dreams. Now, it is time to give the pillow some head and the sheets some ass and have a post-coital cigarette, smoke a bowl, and then have the sweetest dreams ever. Love y'all so much. Good night.